That's the new high in 2020, right? I hope everyone can see my screen. My name is Anish Mitra. I am a Sapna board member, and you'll see either above me or beside me, however you have this set up. We have all the panelists are either board members or members of Sapna leadership, and we're very, very delighted to have you join us tonight for the Festival of Dreams virtual edition. This is obviously the first time we're ever doing this virtually, and if you're a friend of Sapna, a benefactor, obviously, or someone who's familiar with the organization, welcome back. Obviously, we can't be together in New York, but we have a very, very fun-filled, exciting 1 hour planned for you. If you're new to the organization, if this is your first time attending a Sapna event, we're so happy to have you. It's gonna be great, really fun. We're gonna learn all about the organization in a few minutes, but we're gonna get things started right away. So the first thing we have for you is an amazing spoken word performance by Australian singer, songwriter, creative Amritha Shakti. I'm just gonna wait till that loads up.
So this spoken word piece is called Do I Love Myself? And it explores my journey to self-love as a woman of color, as a daughter of immigrants, and as an Indian Australian individual trying to navigate two very different cultures and trying to form an identity for myself. The poem touches on themes such as learning to love my body and learning to decolonize my understanding of beauty. It touches on themes such as, the struggle of straddling two cultures, coming from a really traditional South Indian family and also operating in the Western world. It can often be really confusing to figure out who you are and what resonates with you and which parts of these two worlds you want to incorporate into your sense of self. So this poem attempts to convey that confusion, but also the process through which I found peace and healing and found a sense of identity as Amrita, as a third culture kid. So I really hope you enjoy this. This is Do I Love Myself Fully? Do I love myself fully? Actually, maybe that's not the right question. Maybe the right question is, when did I stop loving myself at all? I was a loud-mouthed, sassy, passionate little girl with long black hair right down to my back. I would take my mom's jewelry and her bindi and I'd wear them around the house, and whenever we went out, in my mind, I was a little Indian princess. But as I grew older, my mom started to worry about the way that I was. She worried that I'd be seen different, treated different, and I didn't get it until one day on the way back home from school, I heard the word brown being hissed into my ear on the train. Summertime at our high school was all about exams and school photos. When the school photos came out, an entire day was spent ranking each girl from least to most beautiful. And I remember never saying a word that day, but wishing I was someone different. I was the girl with the extra long skirt, the shirt buttoned all the way up to the top of her neck, the long black hair she never cut, the odd one out, the one who never felt like she belonged. The girl who started eating her feelings. A bit too brown, a bit too Indian, a bit weird, not quite right. When did I stop loving myself? Not when any of these things happened, but in that single moment sitting in Matt's class in the afternoon when I decided that they were right and I believed every single thing that had been told to me. The crazy thing is, it doesn't stop when you get older either. If it's not the way you look, then it's the fact that you aren't following the script of what a 20-something-year-old woman should be doing. You're not quite doctor enough. You're not quite married enough. You're not quite able to fit into a box so that they can easily understand you, grasp you. So what next? How do you learn to unlearn? I think it's the same way you learned, through repetition. It's screaming I love you into the mirror every single day. It's forcing yourself to wear that sleeveless shirt that you're convinced your arms look terrible in. It's meditating until bliss pours out of your cells. It's accepting it all. It's never judging it all. It's finding and holding your pain in your arms while it wails. It's forgiving and forgiving and forgiving until your tears have streamed long enough. Until one day, behind all of that work, your little Indian princess emerges again. Do I love myself fully? I don't know, but I'll get there.
Wow, that was awesome. We had a lot of people coming in to the festival. So welcome to everyone who's here. We have 64 people. This is great. I'm not, if we did it in person, I'm not even sure the venue would have fit 64 people. I don't know, but there are some benefits to being in the situation that we're in. Welcome to our event. My name is Anish. For those of you who were not here earlier, I'm going to be the host of this evening. I'm a board member of Sapna. I've been a board member for 5 years. And we're super excited to get this going. It's going to be a very, very fun 50 minutes of not just information about what we're doing, but ways that you can support and some great performances. There are three main things that are going to happen tonight. We have two amazing performances from artists that you're going to see, in addition to the amazing spoken word that we just saw. We have a message from Mayor de Blasio recognizing the efforts and the organization from what's happened this year, and an update, a very big update from our director, who's going to be very, very specific and show a video about all the work that we've been doing. But before we get into all that, let's get to know each other a little bit. This is a Zoom webinar, by the way. For those of you, I'm sure all of you are Zoom experts by now at this point of the year, but this is a webinar, not a call. So we can't see you, we can't hear you. That may be good news to a lot of you. This is the best possible situation in a Zoom call. Literally have to do nothing but sit back, relax, watch the show. However, if you look below, there is a chat function. Some of you have already begun using it, which is great. If you are going to use the chat function, which we fully support you doing, make sure to tap that you're sending your message to all panelists and attendees. Otherwise, it's just going to be me and the leadership and the board reading your messages, which I'm happy to do, but I want other people to see them as well. And we're going to test this out. So if you're in the chat, let me know where you're from. So I'm dialing in from Los Angeles. I'm originally from New York. I'm from Queens. But why don't people go into the chat and let us know where you're dialing in from? I'm assuming everyone's in New York, but I could be wrong. Prove me wrong. Brooklyn. Okay, Brooklyn in the house. Always someone from Brooklyn. Always someone from Brooklyn. Medford. Nice. I haven't seen city names in so long. I have not been on kayak.com since I think December 2019. So this is great to see. Harlem, nice. Florida, okay. Some warm weather. Oh, UWS, just, everyone's UWS, Upper West Side for our Florida folk who may not be familiar with Manhattan geography here. Awesome. Dialing in from VA, nice. We won't tell your employer, we promise, okay? This is great. So continue to use the chat function, react. This is the only way we're going to interact. And I know it's not as great as being in the same room, but for those of you who have been to a festival before, you also know we normally have catering. Now you get to do your own catering. So no one's going to be complaining about the food. This is awesome. Not that ever happens, but wow, Los Angeles, nice. I'm in Los Angeles too. Very sunny out here. Great. So continue to use the chat function. That's point one. If you're having any technical difficulties, unfortunately, there's really not much, at least I can do. Obviously, check your internet connection. Make sure that it's strong. Call Verizon if you need to, and feel free to rejoin and join. No one's going to know that you're doing that. If you need to do that, that's completely fine. Moving on, I think I said this before, but thank you, obviously, to the folks who have been supporting the organization for years and understand the work that we're doing, especially in a tremendous year like this. If you're new to the organization, you'll learn a lot more about it, in the coming events that we have scheduled, and we're also going to have some great performances lined up. So sit back, relax. I'm going to be your host. I'll be guiding you the way through. We have another 45 minutes planned, and right now, I'd like to welcome the co-chair of the board of Sapna, Ms. Meghna Shah.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Anish, and good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I hope wherever this evening finds you, that you're all safe and healthy. My name's Meghna Shah, and along with Tanya Khan, I co-chair the board of directors of Sapna NYC. And on behalf of Tanya and me and the whole board, it's truly our honor to welcome you here tonight to our virtual Festival of Dreams Gala. Um, I want to take a moment at the beginning as we celebrate our 7th gala to acknowledge Dr. Allison Karas, who's with us tonight. Uh, Dr. Allison Karas is our founder and former executive director. And Allison, we're very much humbled by your work and are really honored to continue to work towards your vision and your legacy. So thank you. So like anything else, the Festival of Dreams looks a little bit different this year, and that makes our gratitude for your presence here tonight all the greater. So thank you for taking the time out of your evening to join us. You'll hear a bit later in the program about all of the work that Sapna NYC has been doing in our community to assist those that we serve with the challenges associated with COVID-19. One of our greatest successes this year has been creating and operating a food pantry for our greater Bronx community, distributing culturally appropriate groceries for those who are struggling against the backdrop of the pandemic. And we really couldn't have done that or any of the work we do without all of your unwavering support. So many of you stepped in, donated money and time to help us with that ongoing effort of the food pantry and our other community relief. So we thank you so much for that. And for now, I invite you to sit back and relax and enjoy the virtual festivities that we have planned for you. And I'm very honored to introduce a special guest that we have tonight. Mr. Rohan Nareen is here from the Office of the Mayor of New York City, Mayor de Blasio. He's a senior community liaison in the mayor's office. And Rohan, I'll pass the floor to you. Thank you all so much.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to make an assumption that I'm being heard, so I will push forward with that. To the Master of Ceremony, the executive, thank you very much. To the executive at Sapna, to past board members at Sapna, and to everyone attending this webinar, I want to say welcome, and it is a pleasure to be representing the city of New York on behalf of the current administration by our mayor, led by our mayor, Bill de Blasio. And before I read the message, I just want to say one quick thing as to what brought me here. And I'm no stranger to Sapna, and this will be very quick. I found out through a few folks, I think one in particular, Tahitun Mariam. At the time, she was working at the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs. And she said that there were a few organizations that you should really get to know in the Bronx. And Sapna was one of them. And so I went to their annual gala last year. I didn't purchase a ticket, and they were so nice to actually let me sit down and participate and stay in that space with my wife. And it was an unforgettable moment. And I just wanted to say thank you. I never forgot the extension of that invitation. It was a real pleasure. And with that, I started following Sapna, and the work that they do is genuinely uplifting and amazing, and it's so inspirational. So I found out about this dinner. There was no way. I found out about this event online, and there was no way that I was going to miss this. And so with that, I have a short message to read from our office. Dear friends, it is a great pleasure to welcome everyone to Sapna's 7th annual Festival of Dreams. New York is proud to be a diverse global hub of opportunity where people of all backgrounds have a real chance at reaching their fullest potential. Since its establishment, Sapna NYC has exemplified the great promise and spirit of inclusivity that define the 5 boroughs, serving as a steadfast source of support for South Asian immigrant women and demonstrating its commitment to uplifting these women and their families through food pantries, financial literacy trainings, health services, and countless other programs that improve the quality of life. Tonight's event is a wonderful opportunity to celebrate all that Sapna NYC and the women it supports have achieved, while also recognizing this organization's efforts to help its community through the COVID-19 pandemic. I applaud Sapna NYC's staff and supporters for all they do to uplift South Asian immigrant women and contribute to our city's strength and vibrancy. On behalf of the City of New York, please accept my best wishes for a wonderful celebration and continued success. Sincerely, Mayor Bill de Blasio. Thank you very much and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. And yes, Rohan, I also never forgot about that invitation, and we'll be sending that invoice shortly. Okay, we're going to recoup the cost of that. Nothing goes unknown. I'm just kidding. That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining, especially the viewers that know this, but on such short notice as well. And it means the world. I think the mayor had very, very good things to say, and it's great to hear what he had to say from 3,000 miles away, from my perspective. But we're gonna keep this show rolling. Also, for those that are watching and active in the chat, that's awesome. I'm reading some of the messages. We are recording this. It's going to be on YouTube at some point in the future. So if you do want to listen to the mayor's message again or any part of this, you'll be able to, which I think is awesome. But moving along, like I said, we have two great musical performances. I think it's time for some music. The first one is actually, we're bringing back Amritha Shakti. She's like I said earlier, a singer, songwriter. And I guess one of the benefits is, she is from Australia, but tonight we're going to get a firsthand look at the Australian Indian vibes that she's putting together and cooking up. So let's cut to a performance by Amritha Shakti. All right, hold on. I think there's some sound issues. We couldn't go through the whole meeting without at least one, okay? This is part of the experience. This is part of the Zoom experience. Give it 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. We're going to reboot that one, but we had to do at least one real scenario. Keep this very, very authentic. Lord knows I've been in so many Zoom calls where something goes awry or something goes wrong, but I think give it 1 or 2 minutes, we'll get that reloaded up. But look, let's talk a little bit in the chat. I'm out here in LA, like I said earlier. My parents, I'm a Bengali American. My mom and dad are in New York. I think my mom might be dialed in. I'm not sure. But one of the biggest highlights of this time for me has been teaching my mom how to use Zoom, because she's a school teacher and she's been using it. She's super excited. We don't even, in a way, it's been a little annoying, because now she doesn't want to do voice calls anymore. Every time we catch up, she's like, oh, let's hop on the Zoom. Let's hop on the Zoom. So I don't have the benefit of, not, sometimes I got to be fully dressed on these calls, right? I mean, it's a pain, but all right, we're back. We're back.
That is present in New York when it comes to supporting and bringing together South Asian communities. Australia is still a pretty young multicultural community, and so I really, really look up to what organizations like you, Sapna, are doing to empower South Asian women especially, because I think that shows us here, it gives us a beacon of hope and a path for the future that we can start to emulate as well. So thank you so much for the incredible work that you do. Thank you so much for the invite today. So my name is Amritha Shakti. I am a singer, songwriter, and a creative. I'm Indian Australian, and tonight I will be performing 3 things for you. Firstly, a spoken word piece about my experience growing up as a bicultural kid. And secondly, I will be doing a mashup, a Tamil-English mashup. And finally, I'll be sharing an original song with you called Deserve Me, which is all about South Asian women empowerment. So yeah, let's get this started. This next song is a Tamil English mashup, and I'm excited to share it with you. So let's do this. Enjoyed that. Best part is one of my favorite songs, and so is that Tamil song right at the end. It's actually an A.R. Rahman number. This next song is an original. It's called Deserve Me, and it is all about, again, my journey to self-love. And if you look at the music video for the song, it was all about bringing together South Asian women in Australia to represent how incredibly diverse we are, but also how amazing it is when we come together and uplift each other. So I'm really excited to share this song with you tonight. It's something that's very close to my heart, and I hope you enjoy it. You don't deserve me.
Yeah, yeah.
Shakti, and I hope you really enjoyed that little taste of my Indian Australian world. I'm sending you all my love. Stay safe, and talk to you guys soon.
Oh my God. Make some noise in the chat if you can. Make some noise in the chat. Let's see some exclamation points. Amritha, I think you're absolutely right. We do not deserve you. That was unreal. The language change. I mean, singing multiple hits in multiple languages. I mean, you're in the same class as Drake now. This is unbelievable. But we're gonna keep this going. We're at the halfway point now. So I'm feeling good. We're moving right along. Wow, I'm still blown away. I'm still blown away. You don't see it, but I actually fell off the chair. My left leg is completely bruised up. This is awesome. But I'd like to transition to, we're going to learn a little bit more about the organization. So for those of you that have joined, I'm seeing, wow, 70 participants. For those of you who know the organization, we're going to learn more about what we've been doing this year. And for those of you who are new, I hope you're having a great time. I think it's been an amazing event so far. But you're going to learn a little bit more about, you're going to see some folks who are part of the leadership, and you're going to learn more about what we've been doing in this crazy year. So I'd like to give the floor to Ms. Dia Basusen, who's the Executive Director of Sapna NYC.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. I know we're all inundated with calls, so we're so grateful that you've joined yet another Zoom call to spend the evening with Sapna. I want to start by thanking all of the volunteers that have shared their time, their muscle, and their heart with us these past few months. Our COVID relief work would not have been possible without them. I also want to thank the volunteers and our staff for putting themselves on the front lines of COVID-19 to support our communities, despite the health risks, and for helping to carry the weight of our community's struggles, even while dealing with their own worries of being in the midst of a pandemic. Together, we have logged more than 500 hours, packaged over 100,000 pounds of food, and served 15,000 individuals in the Bronx. Months ago, when we first started our food pantry, I was having a conversation with a Bengali woman who started coming to get groceries for her family. She told me, "I never imagined that life would be like this in America. I don't want to take handouts or to ask for help." She went on to tell me that she had gotten a promotion right before COVID and that her family had been doing okay, but then suddenly the store she worked at closed. Now she's been looking for work for months, but can't find anything. Their savings are drying up and they're behind on rent. Our community members want to go back to work despite fears of getting COVID because they have few choices. Theirs are the jobs with no remote options, without paid vacation time, without benefits, and without flexibility. At the same time, they also work in the sectors that have been forced to close or scale back due to the pandemic. So employers have reduced hours, laid off staff, and even shuttered for good. According to a recent report put out by the Asian American Federation, the growth in Asian New Yorkers filing unemployment claims outpaces all other groups, going from filing just hundreds of claims a month to tens of thousands of claims per month. Imagine having two adults working in your household and then overnight both of you lose your jobs. Imagine supporting a family of 4 for 8 months on your savings and some limited unemployment. That alone is almost unimaginable in New York City, where most people are heavily rent burdened. But the reality is, for this family and for many others we serve, as new immigrants, as non-citizens, the situation is even more dire. They are often not eligible for help like food stamps, public benefits, or stimulus money. They make minimum wage and are just making ends meet in the best of circumstances. And right now, as many unemployment benefits are ending, there is still no solution in sight for them. This pandemic has highlighted that the American dream so many aspire to is tenuous at best. Our working class families are just one national or personal crisis away from not knowing how they're going to put food on the table. One crisis away from having to choose between medicine and other basic necessities. One crisis away from eviction. Our immigrant families aren't the only ones facing this reality. Families across America are struggling, and the government has failed to provide adequate support. The fact is that many New Yorkers wouldn't be surviving the pandemic without community-based organizations like Sapna or mutual aid groups stepping in, whether it's providing groceries, helping to complete benefit applications that can now only be done online, or connecting families to financial assistance through microgrants. Although we are no longer at the height of the COVID pandemic in New York and the city has been coming back to life, so many are still struggling. As a community-based organization, it is our mission to serve our community, to grow and evolve our work to meet the moment that we are in. That is what we've been doing these past 8 months and what we have promised to continue doing as we focus on the survival of our community. We work with the knowledge that we will emerge from this pandemic stronger and more resilient, but knowing that the financial and mental impacts of this pandemic will reverberate in our community and our city for months and years to come. I want to end today by reminding you all that we have 1 week left until Election Day, but that the election is happening right now. Make sure that you vote and tell your friends and family to vote too. However, it isn't enough to simply vote, because the truth is that the people and the policies that allowed this administration to fan hate and profit off of people's despair will still be here. We need to vote, but we also need to stay engaged past the election. If the past months have shown us anything, it is that our systems have failed us when billionaires made $434 billion during the pandemic, while 1 in 4 Bronx residents suffer from food insecurity. We need to invest in our communities. We need to invest in community-based organizations, in small businesses, in people of color, in women. That includes electing politicians who truly represent the people, but it is also remembering that change starts with us, because the power of the people is greater than the people in power. Thank you again for joining us this evening, for your support today and over the past months. You fuel our work. Before we get back to the music, we would like to share a short video on the COVID relief work that your donations have made possible. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening.
In March, as the coronavirus spread rapidly throughout the city, the Bronx became one of the hardest hit boroughs. Sapna's community reported 95% unemployment, and many feared being unable to pay rent or feed their families as days turned into weeks. As a community-based organization that centers the people we serve in our work, it became apparent that we couldn't continue our focus on women's health and empowerment without addressing the fact that our community wasn't able to fulfill its most basic needs. Sapna quickly pivoted our work to COVID relief to ensure that the community wasn't left behind in relief efforts.
I was absolutely shocked to discover that my local community, the Bronx, had been hit the hardest by the pandemic. 50% of soup kitchen and food pantries were forced to cease all operation, which is a huge number when taking into account that the Bronx was already considered the most under-resourced borough of New York City.
To address the food insecurity, Sapna started an emergency food pantry providing fresh produce and pantry staples that are culturally appropriate for the community.
আমার স্বামী একজন ইয়েলো ক্যাব ড্রাইভার, কিন্তু সে বর্তমানে কাজ করছে না। আমরা আনএমপ্লয়মেন্ট পাচ্ছি, কিন্তু সেটা যথেষ্ট না। বাচ্চাদের খরচ, ঘর ভাড়া, খাবার, ফোনের বিল এবং অন্যান্য খরচ আমরা দিতে পারছি না। আমরা আগে একটি ফুড প্যান্ট্রিতে গিয়েছিলাম যেখানে আমাদেরকে ক্যান ফুড দেওয়া হয়েছিল, কিন্তু আমরা জানি না ওগুলো কীভাবে রান্না করতে হয়। আপনাদের ফ্রেশ গ্রোসারিজ আমাদের খুব উপকার করে। এই খাবারগুলো আমরা খাই এবং এই খাবারগুলো আমাদের পছন্দ মতো আমরা রান্না করতে পারি।
Every week, Sapna gave out over 400 bags of groceries and has now served more than 14,000 individuals in our 5 months of pantry operations. For many, these groceries are a lifeline that ensure that they will be able to feed their families.
আমার স্বামী 20 বছরের বেশি সময় ধরে রেস্টুরেন্টের কিচেনে কাজ করছে। অনেকক্ষণ দাঁড়িয়ে থাকা এবং কঠোর পরিশ্রমের কারণে তার অনেক ধরনের শারীরিক সমস্যা দেখা যাচ্ছে। কিন্তু লকডাউনের আগ পর্যন্ত সে কাজ করেছে। যেহেতু তার ডায়াবেটিস এবং অন্যান্য শারীরিক সমস্যা আছে, তাই আমি ভয় পাচ্ছি যে সে কিভাবে আবার কাজে যোগ দিবে। আমি আমার জন্য কাজ খুঁজছি, কিন্তু কোথাও কাজ পাচ্ছি না। আমরা 2 মাস ধরে বাসা ভাড়া দিতে পারছি না। আমরা কোনো ধরনের আনএমপ্লয়মেন্ট, স্টিমুলাস বা ফুড স্ট্যাম্প পাই না। তাই আমাদের যতটুকু জমানো আছে সেখান থেকে এবং স্বপ্না থেকে যে গ্রোসারি পাচ্ছি তাই দিয়েই চালাচ্ছি।
At Sapna, we are committed to serving our community through this crisis. These are unprecedented times, but our community is as strong and resilient as the city it calls home. Even as we witnessed great loss and heartbreak, we have also seen remarkable community, generosity, and kindness in families helping each other, volunteers giving hours of their time, supporters donating for our COVID relief, and mutual aid groups starting all around the city. We know that our vibrant community will survive, and that with time, all of us together can recover and heal.
Thank you. Just processing all that information in that video. Thank you so much for everyone in the chat that's been giving supportive comments. You know, like I said earlier, this is real. This is for those of you that are learning about the organization. We're out there. You know, you can't have impact just from being in a boardroom. So, you know, all of your support, all of your, you know, all the activity goes a long way. And please, you know, mind the chat. There are multiple ways to help support the very efforts that you saw on video, with, you know, literally touching the lives of those who have been hit hardest by the pandemic and all the issues that have resulted from the pandemic. So, you know, if you have time, click that chat and just take a look at all the different ways that you can get involved. It's going to be there. And I'd also like to say, great job. You know, we've really been zipping through. Time flies. We're at the finale. So we have 2 things left for you tonight. Thanks so much for spending the time with us. We have one amazing musical performance left that I'm about to cue up right now, and then we're going to give some closing thoughts. So without further ado, if you thought the last performance was great, you know, let's keep the vibe up. Let's keep the energy up. Make sure to let us know in the chat how you're feeling, if you're vibing. And, you know, let's get this show going. So the next performance is by South Asian singer-songwriter named Rianjali. She's actually from Queens, New York. So, you know, I'm already going to love this. And she's worked with A.R. Rahman and U2, amongst others. So without further ado, let's cut to an exclusive song by Rianjali.
Hey guys, my name is Rianjali. Welcome to the Festival of Dreams hosted by Sapna NYC. I just quickly wanted to thank Sapna for you know, the work that they do. They help low-income immigrant women, which is something that I'm actually really fond of because it's something that I was sort of a part of before I started this music game. I used to work for a nonprofit helping South Asian low-income immigrant women in the domestic violence field. So it was a little bit more specified, but I know how much dedication, hard work, and how rewarding it really is. So shout out to you guys for what you're doing. I'm super honored to be a part of an event like this. Again, my name is Rianjali, and you can find me at Rianjali Music pretty much anywhere on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music. I'm an independent singer-songwriter, and I know things have been kind of crazy these days, so hopefully this music kind of brings you some peace. The types of songs that I've selected will hopefully kind of bring you back to a place of reflection, and I just hope you enjoy. So here we go. I'm gonna start off with an original called Yesterday. My cat just walked in, so that's cool. I really hope he just like jumps on top of here because that would be amazing. This original is called Yesterday, and I wrote this with my dad a couple of years ago. Hey, Smokey. I hope he's seen. Actually, no, I wrote it, and my dad, I asked him to play some tabla behind it. And so there is a little twist to this this version. So I might let's see how I feel. I might end up doing that version. Do you ever want to apologize? Do you still fall sound asleep at night? Have you ever been so insecure? Did your ego make you so damn sure? I don't even miss you. Did you think I'd fall upon our grave every time I think of you? All I see are the days I wasted. Didn't even take my heart. Didn't even try to pretend. But you waste my time, 'cause babe, I know you wanted her instead. Tell me why you were here. Why did you stay and make me a fool when I didn't give a damn anyways? Baby, I can't complain. That was all yesterday. Oh, that was all yesterday. Now, yeah. Never know what you got till it's gone. Guess that means I never had you all along. Bet you thought I'd sit around all alone. Pictured me waiting by the phone. I won't even miss you. Did you think I wouldn't walk away every time I think of you? All I see are the days I wasted. Didn't even take my heart. Didn't even try to pretend. Why should you waste my time? 'Cause babe, I know you wanted her instead. Tell me why you were here. Why did you stay and make me a fool when I didn't give a damn anyways? Baby, I can't complain. That was all yesterday. Madanisa mada madanisa nida mada madanida madanida madanisa madanisa danisa maga maga sa maga sani kasanida sani gasanida nida nida maga gama. Didn't even take my heart. Didn't even try to pretend. Why'd you waste my time? 'Cause babe, I know you wanted her instead. Tell me why you were here. Why did you stay and make me your fool when I didn't give a damn anyways? Baby, I can't complain. That was all yesterday. That was all yesterday. No, that was all yesterday. So that was called Yesterday. And yeah, like I said, that was something that I wrote in a very R&B style. You can find that all over YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, pretty much anywhere. And then I did a live version, which I have a series called Living Room Sessions, live in room sessions actually, and we remade it with the tabla, so that was pretty cool. This next song is a cover. That's my cat meowing. He's just trying to do backup singing, so I don't blame him. So this next song is called If the World Was Ending. And it's by one of my favorite songwriters, singer-songwriters. Her name is Julia Michaels. I'm sure you guys have heard of her. She collaborated with JP Sachs. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I just thought that, I don't know if this was intended, if they intended to release this during this kind of crazy time in the world right now, but the lyrics were just so, it just suited the time so well. It's sad, bittersweet, but it's really, really beautiful. So here we go. I was distracted and in traffic. It didn't scare me when the earthquake happened, but it really got me thinking. Were you out drinking? Were you in the living room chilling, watching television? It's been a year now, think I figured out how to let you go and let communication die out. I know, you know, we know you were in down for forever and it's fine. I know, you know, we know you were made for each other and it's fine. But if the world was ending, you'd come over, right? You'd come over and you'd stay the night. Would you love me for the hell of it? All our fears will be irrelevant. If the world was ending, you'd come over, right? Sky be falling and I'll hold you tight. No, there wouldn't be a reason why we would even have to say goodbye. But if the world was ending, you'd come over, right? Right? If the world was ending, you'd come over, right? Right? I tried to imagine your reaction. It didn't scare me when the earthquake happened, but it really got me thinking how we went drinking, stumbled in the house and didn't make it past the kitchen. It's been a year now, think I figured out how to think about you without it ripping my heart out. I know, you know, we know you were in down for each other and it's fine. I know, you know, we know we were made for each other and it's fine. But if the world was ending, you come over, right? You come over and you stay the night. Would you love me for the hell of it? All the fears will be irrelevant. If the world was ending, you come over, right? Sky be falling and I'll hold you tight. No, there wouldn't be a reason why we would even have to say goodbye. If the world was ending, you come over, right? Right? If the world was ending, you come over, right? Right? I know, you know, we know you were in down for forever and it's fine. I know, you know, we know we were made for each other and it's fine. But if the world was ending, you come over, right? You come over and you stay the night. Would you love me for the hell of it? All our fears will be irrelevant. If the world was ending, you come over, right? Sky be falling and I'll hold you tight. No, there wouldn't be a reason why you would even have to say goodbye. If the world was ending, you come over, right? Right? If the world was ending, you come over, right? Right? I got my husband sitting in the corner scrolling lyrics for me, and he just got really excited. I think that's one of his favorite songs. So again, thank you so much for joining us here today. If you love what you hear, I would love the support. I am an independent singer-songwriter. I teach on the side, but this is my main thing. I am super blessed to be able to say that because I know even a couple of years ago that was not a reality for me. And I kind of want to tell you a little bit about my story before we go. I was, like most of you, on a regular path to doing something on a road more traveled. So I did my master's in clinical psych. I got my undergrad, and this was after I said no to pre-med, which was obviously like the biggest deal in my house. I still remember that day. There was a lot of trauma associated with that day. But I then, went off to do my master's in clinical psych. Eventually, I wanted to get my PhD. So I was on this path, like I mentioned before. I was working with a nonprofit. I wasn't making a whole lot. It was really rewarding. I was stressed out, but music was on the back burner. I'd always been singing, but I was like always going to family events and community events and singing in college. Everyone knew I had a voice. Everyone would ask me, why don't you do American Idol, or why don't you do The Voice? And I'm like, well, I gotta like go away for like 9 months to even make that happen. That was not a reality. And I happened to come across the maestro A.R. Rahman, and he asked me to come down to India and work for him. Now, let me tell you, when I say this was not something I was planning for, like, if you know me, you know this was not at all something that I had in the works or even was prepared to handle something like that. But I took that risk. I jumped because I thought, I've been following this straight path my whole life. Why not try this? Because initially the offer was like a couple of months. I was like, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life if I don't do this. And I tried, and that was about 4.5, I would say, 4.5 years ago. And since then, I've been writing music for Bollywood films, Hollywood films, music supervising on Netflix documentaries. I perform with U2. And I say all of this to literally let you know that it is possible. Like, I feel like in my head, I'm the person who was always going to doubt myself and doubt that these things could happen. It was not realistic. It was not something that would make you money. Well, I mean, I'm not making the most money in the world, obviously, but and I had a lot of support. I did have a lot of support, but it's possible. It's realistic. Just be self-aware, know what you're capable of, because like here I am today, and this is what I'm doing for a living. And I think that's crazy, because again, I was such a pessimist, and I kind of just wanted to spread a little bit of that light. I don't know if that's too much information, but yeah, so I'm still out here doing this independent music gig, and I would love your support. Again, I'm at Rianjali Music everywhere. On that note, I wrote this song, and it's not completed yet, so I wanted to share with you whatever I know. And I put it on Instagram recently, and it got so much of a reaction, and I think it's because we're craving to be able to be, what's the word? I guess we want to relate. We want to relate to one another. We want people to relate to us. And I, as a musician and a songwriter and a composer, think that that is an incredible thing that I'm able to do, to be able to relate to others with, never having met them. And COVID's been, this entire year has been kind of crazy. A lot of us have lost more than we could imagine. And, the fact that we're here today, I'm grateful for that. But there are times throughout it all, I feel like I keep on having to tell myself, it's going to be fine. It's going to be all right. Keep your head up. As an artist, I lost a lot of money, music, gigs, a lot of work, and there's a lot of people who've lost jobs. And sometimes you're just like, man, I really don't want to care about being positive at the moment, because you're human and you just have crap days. And I felt tired one day, really tired and exhausted, and I wrote this. And I hope that you guys can kind of relate to it. Not everything has kind of like the cherry on top, right? So for now, this is called I Can't Control, and I'm going to give you guys a little snippet of it. Some days I'll be strong, some days I won't. Some days I'll be wrong, some days I'll know. Some days I will fail. 2, 3, 4. Some days I will fight, some days I just don't. Sometimes I think I could fly into unknown. Will I fly too high? Will they see me burn? I don't wanna fall, instead of the things I was told. I don't wanna fall, lift me up, I can't take it all. Lift me up, feeling overwhelmed from the weight of the world that I can't control. So that's all I've got so far, and I'm gonna hope to finish this in the next couple of days and release it as soon as I possibly can. So thank you again so much. I really, really appreciate it. I am at Rianjali Music. Thank you, Sapna NYC, for everything that you're doing, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the week.
Wow, wow, wow. That was an amazing performance. Hello, my name is Deborati, and I'm on the board. Thanks everyone for joining us this evening and spending time with us, and we look forward to your support for Sapna. The world in which we live has become much, much tougher, but that has not dampened our commitment to our cause. Please support us in any way you can, and together, let us help our community achieve its dreams. Any support you can give us via checks or PayPal or through Zelle is welcome. Our sincere gratitude to our sponsors, and we look forward to your continued support. A big thank you to our tech czar, Andrew. Heartfelt thanks to Dia for leading our cause and for leading Sapna and taking us through this very troubled times. Sabah, you are an amazing ally. Also, Alison, I hope you're still online. Please know that we continue to appreciate your vision and hard work. And over to you now, Anish.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hold on. There we go. Wow. So amazing, amazing performance. And as you can tell, so many people involved in putting all this together, but I want to thank all of you. I'll take 2 minutes just to close this out, but this has been a really, really fun-filled evening. And I hope all of you have felt the energy, and obviously difficult to recreate online, but I hope we did a good job. Next year, you know, putting the hands together, next year, hopefully we can be back together in person. You know, you have all the information on how you can support the organization. And of course, you know, we're here, so reach out to us. The one thing I do want to really stress before we end is, you know, I became part of Sapna 5 years ago. I was performing stand-up comedy at one of the Festival of Dreams, and I was doing some hosting. And then I had an opportunity to join the board. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Before I moved to Los Angeles, before I left New York, the first thing I did was I reached out to Meghna and I reached out to Dia, and I wanted to make sure I could still be involved. There are always opportunities to be involved. It doesn't have to be at the board level, but if any of you, especially those who are learning about the organization for the first time, if you want to be involved in any way, shape, or form, please check the website and reach out to any one of us. There are always things to do. As you can see, as you saw tonight, there's a lot to do. And, you know, this impact is real. That's why it's been fulfilling for me. And I've had a great time, and I hope to maybe work with one of you in the future. But first and foremost, thank you so much for joining. Shout out to the artists. Shout out to Rianjali's cat, who made an appearance. It's been a great, great evening. I hope you've had a good time. And thank you. We'll see you soon.